dear. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. Yes, indeed. Just file in, nice and quiet. Remember, safe space rules apply. If you get excited and you want to show your appreciation, don't be clapping your hands. Jazz hand rules are in effect. And if all else fails, well, I'll just unleash the fish that looks like a dude. Something fishy around here. Could it be that we have just found the world's first case of social justice fish? It could be. Mr. Scotty Lopez, how you doing, man? We're back. Yes, we're keeping it real. We're getting into the world of the cryptids tonight. I can't wait. How you doing, big man?
Doing absolutely fantastic. And trans fish, possibly?
Oh. Could it just be that the fish is identifying as a human or a human identifying as a fish?
That is the question. That is the $6 million question, Mr. Baker.
It's a question I never thought I'd hear us asking, Scott. But here we are in Woketopia. And Woketopia comes complete with its own ecosystem and wildlife. Yes, indeed. But before we get into all of that, how you all doing out there? It's our Sunday/Monday morning in the UK. Safe space /KBS / we don't know what we call this at the weekend. But yes, I'm glad to be back. I had the member-only stream earlier on today. That was absolutely fantastic. We took a look at some good woo. We were talking about Oak Island, Scotty. We were getting into the Templars. I also really got into quite a long monologue about UFO disclosure. I was going to say conversation, but you can't have a conversation with yourself, right? That's like one stage away from having hairy hands and been mad. Okay, so you get me, okay? But UFO disclosure came up. And you know what I really like? Sometimes this happens. Somebody asks you a question, Scott, and you know you can cover it. You know you've covered it in the past. And UFO disclosure to the Stars Academy, ATIP. There's a lot of information, but, you know, sitting there today and going over it all quietly and kind of slowly, not quietly because I was talking about it, but, you know, slowly putting it together. By the time I'd finished it, I realised, you know, that I've really got kind of my dominoes in a row there. I pretty much can present why I think the UFO disclosure thing is as phony as a $7 bill. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm with you on this too, right? I probably couldn't articulate it as well as you can, but just being within this realm of research and looking at all of this stuff and knowing how the government has been so opaque, you know, as opposed to transparent with all of this stuff and hiding everything and basically portraying everyone looking into it as, you know, batshit crazy and, oh, you believe in aliens and, oh, you know, the blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden you just see this 180 and now the government's, you know, working with Tom DeLonge and you had this, you know, they're working with the To the Stars Academy and.
Well, look at it this way, Scott. This is what kind of dropped for me today, right? And I'd like your opinion on it because it's the first time I'd really thought about it this way. And this is why it really kind of pleased me that this got brought up today because, and don't worry, folks, we're going to get into this weird-looking fish in just a moment. But this was kind of really profound when I sat and thought about it afterwards as well because, yeah, we've done the DeLonge thing, right? Well, we've talked about that. We talked about the 2017, the change in the media. Instead of playing X-Files music and calling us whack-balls, now all of a sudden it was a really serious topic. But when you think about it, there was something else said in the chat room today as well that really it gave me my aha moment. It gave me my eureka moment. And we go back to pre-2016 election. And we had a lot of talk for years, Scott. It wasn't just a one-off thing, but a lot of talk, a lot of build-up about Hillary. And never shy of approaching the UFO subject. Famously photographed with the book with Rockefeller at one point as well. And somebody that was pretty much, people thought, would at least go after the UFO information. So it was today I was thinking about that. How strange, eh? Because the very same people that were connected to her and have been connected to her and her family, i.e. alphabet agencies, are the very same people now who have turned up all around Tom DeLonge, who have now got programs all over the History Channel. And I wonder if the agenda hasn't changed. It was decided years ago that post-2016 election, we're going to start drip feeding information and we're going to have our girl Hill doing it. Only Hillary didn't get in. But the agenda didn't change, Scott. So they had to think to themselves, well, what vehicle do we use now? Who do we use now? Oh, you mean that really popular singer from Blink-182's into UFOs and maybe we could like go and cozy up with him? And this isn't to put anything on Tom DeLonge. Far from it. I think they targeted him because their candidate for disclosure didn't make it. Weird one, right?
Just so I don't have to say hey to all, here you go, hey, consider me noticed again, lol.
Sid Bitch, you're an absolute treat, brother. You really are. How could we not notice you, Sid? How could we not? So yes, Scott, am I going a bit crazy there?
No. In fact, you are pretty much echoing what I've been thinking the entire time. Okay, so what crystallized this for me and made me go, was when a certain show that comes on the History Channel that likes to talk about aliens.
Mr. P turns up. We call him Mr. P on here.
the Desta.
Yes, the Death Star.
Yes. He popped up on that episode. Remember, it was the season premiere of the new season. And that was like one of the most bizarre things I have ever witnessed, that I have ever watched. The entire tone of that show and the direction it took and the way they were presenting everything in that episode, I was like,
Well, I'm not going to name names, but I know for a fact of 2 people that were regular contributors to that show that from that point forward didn't want anything to do with it.
I know. And what really got me was how towards the end, maybe towards the last half of the show or the last quarter of the show, it took this really weird political turn. Like, they were basically implying that because of the fact that Hillary lost the election, that we weren't going to get disclosure, and that, Orange Man bad. Orange Man's going to keep all of this a secret, and it's just this big, horrible thing that now Orange Man is in the office because we were so close. We were so close to getting disclosure. And I was like, wow, what the hell,
And the thing that really made it drop for me today was when you look at To the Stars Academy. And again, I'm just going to quickly show this and then we'll get into the crazy looking fish, folks. Don't worry. But it's this character here, Christopher Mellon. Now, I knew he had always been floating about like Capitol Hill and things like that, but 20 years in federal government roles, including Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence in Clinton and Bush campaigns. So he's literally worked for the Clintons at once upon a time as one of their chief spooks. And when I say worked for, in reality, the Clintons worked for him. Because he's the level of government that you don't vote for. He's always there. And he's cross-party because it's Bush and Clinton. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not American, Scott, but are they not opposite sides of the aisle?
Supposedly.
No, thank you very much. So there rest my case that the real government, it doesn't matter who's out the front, what colour's running the shop.
Well, you got to remember, right? Bush said that he thinks of Hillary as a sister to him, and the Bush and the Clinton clans are, they're super tight with each other. So I mean, that's just the
only thing that could be uglier than Chelsea Clinton, a fish with a human face, and we've got one of them. We've got one of them. Yeah, folks, this is freaky. It really is freaky. It's weird. Myself and Scott are going to discuss it here, but this has been floating around for a couple of days now. Pardon the pun, floating around. That was good, Scott. Come on. But it says here, a fish with a human face is spotted in a lake, and it's really creeping people out. Now, I'm not going to play this version of the video here because we can see it's got some kind of watermark on it, so that might be a bit... But we're going to look. Don't worry, we've got it. So it says, recently, an adorable dog went viral for having a face that looked more human than canine. The cute pooch named Nori baffled people online who thought its face had been digitally altered. Now there's another strange animal shocking people on the internet. Only this one lives in water instead of land. And a rather unusual fish has been spotted in a lake in China, which appears to have some very odd markings on its face, causing it to look quite human. And there is the offending fish. Now, Scott, your first thoughts when you seen this thing, man?
Definitely creepy. It would trip me out. You know what I mean? If I saw it, I would probably do exactly what these people who saw it did, and whip out my phone and immediately start filming, because that's just some crazy stuff, right? It would definitely freak me out if it was like starting to get dark, and you couldn't really You know what I mean? Like if the sun was starting to set and it was.
No, that's like when we see in a minute, it's almost like the thing's trying to get out the water as well. Bloody terrifying. Now, I showed my mum this today, and because it was on my monitor, and I was showing her with my phone on Facebook Messenger, the contrast was off, so it looked a whole lot lighter. And do you know what she says to me? She says, "A fish? What? In the clouds? What's it doing up there?" I'm thinking, I tell you one thing, it's got like a face, like a human, but if you've seen this flying around, that would be another kettle of fish altogether. Flying human-faced fish, no thanks. No thanks. Not ready to deal with that. I'm not ready to deal with this. But we're going to look further and then we'll discuss what we might be seeing here. So it says, a visitor to a village outside the city of Kunming in South China captured the video of the creepy carp. It's a Chi-Com carp. That's what it is. Get fentanyl the dragon onto it. Old fentanyl will deal with it. Yes. I fentanyl the dragon. The video was shared on Weibo, a Japanese social media platform. And in the clip, the fish can be seen. You call it a fish if you want. I don't know if we call it fish anymore. The thing can be seen swimming to the edge of the lake and poking its head above the surface of the water. You see, you don't say that about a fish, Scott. Fish don't poke their head up to say hello, especially ones that are human-looking, okay? I just saying. So on the fish's head are dark dots which look like two eyes, two vertical lines which resemble the sides of a nose, and one horizontal one underneath where a mouth would be. So let's see. So we're going to watch a video in a minute by one of our favorite YouTubers, and he's going to tell you that this is most definitely a human face. Scott's laughing. But now, Scott,
not only is it a human face, Kev, not only is it a human face, it is a sign. It is a harbor.
Yeah, if we tell you that somebody's telling you this is real, don't dare question it, and it's also a sign that we're in the end times. Let's see if you can guess who we might be going to in a moment to see his absolutely unique commentary on this. But let's see what it's told us, Scott. Could it be then that we're looking at markings and pareidolia as taken over?
Yes, I believe that's what we're looking at here. It just has a very interesting pattern, on its scales, and it just happens to look like a face. Our brain immediately takes that contrast, takes the light and the dark, and then tries to assemble something that we
Scott,
recognize.
Very much like an AI with facial recognition. It sees two dots, two dark masses where eyes should be. It sees shadowing where a nose should be. It sees a bit where a mouth should be. And that's what the AI does, exactly the same as our brain. Oh, it ticks all the boxes that a face ticks. So we'll go to face. Pretty cool. And of course, they don't call it a neural network for nothing. It mimics our brain.
Yep, exactly. And it's no different than when you see these absolute, I think they're really, really talented. Some of these makeup artists.
Oh, we'll take a look at that. Yeah, the 3D tattoos and.
Yeah, that do like the 3D tattoos and that they make their faces completely morph into something that is completely different,
Or the street art, when you get the street art that looks like you're going off a cliff or a waterfall or something, but it's totally done on the surface. It's just an illusion.
Yeah, perspective, playing with perspective and all of that stuff. It's the same thing, it's just the pattern on this fish just happened to...
Are we ready to take the look?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, folks. You've been waiting long enough. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Look at it. Here he comes. Yes, there it is there. You can see here. Look, there's the actual eye. See it? And on the other side, you can see where the kind of brow, if you can call it a brow, bone in a fish's head. I see it now. I definitely think it's a trick of the eye. It's pareidolia. It's not some kind of human fish hybrid. It's not merman. right there, you see it. I think you see the side eye the best, as opposed to this thing that's on the front.
Although when he is opening and closing his mouth,
Yeah.
the dot on that looks like a human eye, it does kind of look like it's like opening a little bit, so it makes it look.
Am I just like making myself more comfortable here? Because I really honestly ain't ready to deal with like merman.
Well, Kev, I mean, well, I'm okay. I'm going to throw it out there. A certain individual down in Texas who is, has claimed that the chemicals in the water have turned the frogs gay.
That's what it is.
I'm thinking that the Chinese pollution is turning the fish into humans.
So, like, if this keeps going on, we'll come back like 6 months from now, and it's going to have like a torso and a couple of arms. China, you better get your rivers cleaned up right now. Get it sorted. Get it right sorted. But I don't think we can do this story justice ourselves, Scott. Let's take it. We're not watching that one. That's a news flare one. You see when videos like this go viral, folks? That's what these companies do. They literally buy the rights to the videos. So that's why I didn't show you, like, we got it from there. I'll probably still get a hit for that portion of the video. But let's take a listen to... Well, you don't need me to tell you who it is.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Guys, this thing is a fish with a human face. And I've watched a video.
It's a bold statement to make there that it's a fish with a human face. Now, it's a fish with a face. Did they like have like maybe... Is that, again, Scott, could it be a trans human fish?
See, this is where the little word semantics come in here. Right? It's a fish with a face that appears to be human, but Mr. Begley,
in the name of good clickbaitery, sir.
It's a fish with a human face.
Deal with it. Not only that, it spells the end times. Seriously.
Video of it swimming literally up to the shore to eat. The eyes are not supposed to be in the front of the fish's face with a nose.
But you can actually see there, if you look round from where the human-looking eyes are, you can see just to the left and right of there, perfectly where a fish should have eyes, on the side of its head.
And of course, Mr. Begley would take the still shot with it facing directly at you, so you couldn't see the side of said fish's head.
Are you calling into question, like, this guy's, like, I mean, Scott, you're not suggesting for 1 minute he would manipulate things, surely?
Begley would never do anything like that.
No, seriously, he wouldn't. Seriously.
He would never make outrageous claims, and he would never present things.
Begley.
Gotcha, bitch.
Here we go.
Nose and a mouth like that. That's just what in the world is going on. Now, this is in China with a human face in a Chinese lake. Everybody knows fish's eyes are on the side of their head. This is weird. But there's so much, with Fukushima and with so much weird radiation, and we're hearing about stories of mutations and strange manifestations and I know about the Bible in Job chapter 38, Leviathan and the demons of the deep and all that kind of stuff. But
slap down that Christian card, Paul.
What is this? What is this? Are you serious? Are you serious? That fish has got a face. What? So, just giving you an update.
That's the kind of thing you honestly hear when you go into like an asylum, dude. What? Well, whoa. What? Seriously?
The chemicals in the Chinese water are turning the fish into humans.
I just don't get it, dude. I tell you, man, maybe that's a result of, when, I don't know, say.
Smoke weed every day.
I don't know, I'm just saying. Maybe that's what happened to the fish. But listen, joking aside though, right? When it comes to lake monsters, cryptids from water, things like that, Scott. I mean, let's face it, the water does give us many a mystery. Now, again, I think, just my opinion, I think I would put the human-faced fish down to pareidolia, just the way it explained in the article there. Doesn't mean I'm right, but I can make a comfortable case in my own mind to logically debunk that. But that doesn't mean I can debunk everything that comes from the water, Scott. And there are weird things, and there are things in there we can't explain.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, if you look at it, most of the life on Earth actually lives in the ocean as opposed to on land. Right. There's way more species that are in the ocean than are terrestrial. So there are so many undiscovered species or so many areas of the ocean that we haven't even explored. And, you know, I always bring this up that, like, we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about our own oceans, right? We know more about the surface of Mars, actually, because we're able to fly satellites around and snap photos and map it out and at least get an idea of what it looks like. But we have yet to actually explore the deeps of our own oceans and really understand what is down there. You know, so it's actually pretty crazy. The oceans are more of a alien sort of world than, you know, some of these, you know, like our own moon and some of the planets that we're looking at. So it's pretty wild. Yeah, I think the possibility of really
let's take a look at this again, man. Take a look at this again. I was just looking at the chat room, though. Looking at the chat room, and I think it was CJ. Big shout out to CJ. He was saying, you know, what I'm saying are the eyes, Scott. Like, on the right-hand photograph here, like beside the face eye, let's call it, right? The human face eye, you can see another thing, right? On the side. And I was saying that for me is the eye. But I tell you what, you know, CJ says that's the ears. And then when you look at it now, right, and you add the ears to the face, I tell you, damn, dude. Damn. Now, again, it could be pareidolia because I never seen the ears until it was suggested to me. But now that I can see the ears, I can only see ears on it. And that makes it terribly terrifying again. Because now I've debunked my debunk. And look, here's another one. Well, here's one. Now look at this. This is a good example. Look.
Okay.
Look at this here, folks. So that this here looks like a nose, two eyes, the mouth. But yet, look, if you look closely, right on the side, you can see the actual big eyes. Now, again, that doesn't debunk the one we just looked at, though. But again, though.
It looks like a very similar species of fish, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Very.
it didn't say somebody that bought a fish or.
And look at the markings on the back there, and it looks very similar.
That must be a trait of that particular.
And in fact, Scott, look at it. Look, you can almost see the black eye bulging out there at the side. The same as when you come down here. It's actually a sizable protrusion out from the side of the head.
Maybe no, Kev. You know what? I think the human face is just wearing a big old set of headphones. Like
maybe it's like the Chinese have literally created super soldiers that are crossed with fish, and we are all absolutely knackered, folks. Because if these things come along, I don't know. I really don't know. The soy boys and the SJWs out there, they'll think it's like something new on the menu at a sushi market, and they'll have no idea. They'll have no idea, Scott, that what's coming for them. That's weird, right?
That would freak me out, though. Like I said,
I see what you mean, though, about the what I'm calling the human eye. That appears to be doing something there.
Maybe that's like, I don't know. Maybe it's a
shit, dude. I don't know what to think now. CJ, I blame you. CJ, I was fine. I convinced myself, man, but now I don't know. You know what you do, Scott? you pluck up the courage, you go down there and you punch it clean in the face. If it looks like a human, it's right. You can fight it. At that point, all bets are off. You can fight that thing, big time. Look at it. It's not trying. I tell you, man, it's trying to eat the people that's filming it. It's trying to get at them. Well, look, what's it actually trying to do there? What is it trying to do? Oh, that's at it, dude. I tell you, man, that's at it. If it's got buddies, we are FUCKED. Done. Game over. We're out of here. The fish have taken over. Have we got that bad that the fish have decided to, like, upgrade themselves? Right, these idiots have had the land too long. Time for us to start, like, you know what I'm saying? Time for the evolution.
So, are you saying that you're gonna have to side with Begley on this one?
Oh, I'm not saying it seriously. Anything. I'm just back to that state of, well, my mind's open again. Know what I'm saying, Scott? Know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the big man, I know exactly what he's going to say about this.
You gotta be shitting me, Joker.
I'm not, Gunny. Again, I'm not. One of these days, Gunny, you're actually going to realize that I don't shit you. Brutal, Scott.
All I know is that if I were to personally witness the fish, if I was the one filming, if I came across it, I would just have to be like,
damn, you're ugly.
Like I say, though, the one thing that we can prove is that it definitely is just about... In fact, can we prove this? I think Chelsea Clinton's probably worse looking than the fish. That's how we got to this story, right?
yeah, I'll say that the fish ranks higher on the 1 to 10 scale than old Chelsea.
Oh, big time. Always, Scott. Always. Absolutely every day of the week. The fish is coming home with me. I tell you, if it comes between the choice of that, the fish is coming home. You and me, fish, we're out of here. Right, so we've done that one. Now, let me just check now where we're going next. Right. So we're talking about cryptids, Scotty, right? And of course, I was on Clyde Lewis not long ago. We were talking about yes. And unfortunately, you only caught like the second hour of it. But we were getting into all sorts. Yeah, we were getting into the fact they had that scientific test, and the scientists said it was eel DNA, so we had that conversation. And then we were also looking at other reports and lore from around the world of sea serpents, things like that. And we got talking about the megalodon at one point as well. All these different sea creatures. And the sea creatures are just one aspect, one classification of what falls under the whole cryptid kind of umbrella, right? And this is when you get into the world of the cryptids, like I called it in the title today, it's the cryptic world of the cryptids, because there's so many different reports, there's so many different names for some of the same phenomena, and then there's so many kind of conflicting stuff. It's a strange thing to get into. It's one of the topics you're never going to be able to, like, offer somebody evidence to support what you're claiming or what you believe. But it's also one of the most interesting because, again, it just shows how weird our world really is and how what we see is just a small slither of everything going on, Scott.
And the whole cryptid thing, it crosses over into paranormal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like they go hand in hand. It's like peanut butter and jelly.
There's no line. It's like a merging. They just blend together kind of seamlessly. In fact, they could be one and the same, and sometimes not, though.
Exactly. That's the thing. You know, sometimes because, you know, on one hand, okay, maybe we're talking about undiscovered species. Maybe we're talking about something that we thought was extinct that could still be around, right? You know, in the case of like Nessie, you know, you have the whole plesiosaur thing on the table, and I'm still open to that. You know, I definitely believe that there are creatures out there that we thought were extinct for millions of years, and no, in fact, and that's been actually proven. You know, they've caught in deep water fish that they thought were extinct, you know, that went extinct millions of years ago during like, I don't know, like the Cretaceous period or something like that. And they're like, oh crap, these things are still alive. They're still, living down here. Just we don't see them because they're in such a isolated place that humans can't reach, that we can't observe. And it goes back to what I was saying, we just haven't explored our oceans. We've only explored a very, very tiny fraction of it. So right there off, just from that alone, undiscovered species is totally on the table. But then once you start getting into the realm of like the more unexplainable stuff,
Mothman.
Yeah, Mothman and
Dog man.
Yeah, Sasquatch, and how you can't. They never come across any bones or any carcasses or anything like that of the animal. Then you're like, well, where are they going? People are spotting them, but you're not actually finding any physical evidence of them. So, and it's kind of the case with some of these water ones, right? I guess the Kelpie would be a good example, right, Kevin? But the Kelpie is both water and land based, apparently, right? Or is it more water based?
The Kelpie's more water based. It centers around a source of water or a body of water, but then because of its shape-shifting nature, it can then take to land, if that makes sense. But it centers around its habitat would be water. And again, for people out there, you might be thinking, well, what on earth's name is a Kelpie? And the Kelpie is, bring this up here. Yeah, the Kelpie is, or a water Kelpie, is a shape-shifting water spirit inhabiting the lochs and pools of Scotland. It has usually been described, usually been described as appearing as a horse, but is able to adopt human form. Hang on a minute. So something in water that's able to adopt human form. The fish is back in play. All joking aside, though, luckily that's China. They don't have Kelpies. They have Chapai.
Maybe it's not a Carpie. Maybe it's a Kelpie.
They have defied Chapai. Some accounts state that the Kelpie retains its hooves when appearing as human, leading to its association with the Christian idea of Satan, as alluded to by Robert the Burns in his 1978 or 1786 poem, Addressed to the Devil in Scott. This is where, for me, it gets really, really, really spooky, to the point where, let's get on the spooky music. We need the spooky background music, yes. Why? Why do we need the spooky background music? Well, because this here, the Kelpie, Scott, it keeps its hooves on, right? It keeps its hooved form when it changes to human. Remember the story of Aleister Crowley first, summoning the demons, and one was cloven foot? And then we go to the local story from Fort Augustus in my childhood. It takes you back to just after the war when there was a dance on. And this is like quite a religious area, Free Presbyterian. People are prim and proper, Scotty. It's back then, it's the 50s. Women on one side of the hall, guys on the other side, and lights are out, and there's a stranger in the dance hall, and all the girls are nudging each other and looking at the tall, dark, handsome stranger, and all the boys on the other side are thinking, who's this idiot? You know what I mean? All the girls looking at this guy. Who's he think he is? So, long story short, he gets dancing with a local. End of the night comes, lights go on. Oh, look of shock on his face. Why? Because the girl then looks down to see that he has cloven feet under the kilt. And he runs out of the dance hall, and the locals give chase, and he disappears. Right next to Loch Ness, where Kelpies come from, who also have the cloven feet.
And remember the story I brought up? I believe we talked about it on Freaky Friday.
Uh-huh.
It was from the UK, and they had people were spotting these tracks in the snow that were like going through walls, but then continuing on the other side, and it was hooven footprints.
That was the night we talked about the hairy hands, remember?
Yes, it was the night we talked about the hairy hands. So there is definitely something weird going on there. And if we also want to talk about water cryptids, I'm going to have to say that mermaids would be classified as a water cryptid, right?
Well, in the name of inclusivity, Scott, what's the advert right now over here, Ren? Hang on. UK ad merman. No, it's not there. There's an advert on the UK TV right now, Scott. I think it's for mortgages or something. But the guy's it's not a mermaid. It's a merman. You know how we've got to break these traditional stereotypes even when it comes to mermaids, dude. Yeah, it's a finance ad, isn't it? He's sitting there throwing water over himself and that. So yeah, a nice woke advert, Scotty, a nice woke advert. But getting back to this, right? It says here, and look at it. I mean, they've got the mermaid there, Scott. The mermaid's the depiction that they use, the Kelpie by Herbert James Draper. It's a famous painting. Do you know what I mean?
Very interesting.
Yeah, it says almost every sizable body of water in Scotland has an associated Kelpie story, but the most extensively reported is that of Loch Ness. And parallels to the general Germanic neck or nixie and the Scandinavian Baccahast have been observed. So yeah, now this Baccahast, if I remember rightly, yeah, there we go. We've got the horse again. See, the Norwegian one, Scott? It's exactly the same. It's the same story. It's the same thing, only with different names, dude.
Wow, very interesting.
So this horse thing comes up a lot. And remember that other story about Loch Ness where the horse comes down and it had like a red Indian dude on the back of it and it just goes into the water? It's the horse bit, the Kelpie bit. Really weird, man.
Very strange. Now, with the mermaid, I think the mermaid thing probably ties into it in a way. Now, weren't mermaids also known as sirens?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because there's
thing?
a TV show on right now about mermaids and it's called Siren.
And the mermaid is portrayed in popular culture as this really nice thing, but when you actually look at the lore behind a mermaid, they are very, very nefarious creatures, right? They seduce people to the water and then kill them, right? I mean, that's the that's the thing, is that you don't want to be seduced by a mermaid.
There's the merman I was telling you about.
Oh my god,
merman. Yeah, only in the UK, dude. We've got merman. Yeah, sorry, Scotty, but you're right. Yeah.
No. Before I continue, you know what? We need to hook up the merman with the moth ma'am.
Well, moth ma'am.
we need to get them together.
Not that there. There we go.
But yeah, so I mean, the mermaids, they're like very nefarious entities or creatures, whatever you want to call them, cryptids, or they're like out to hurt people.
I didn't know they were from like African lore as well.
Very strange.
Says here, in ancient Assyria, the goddess Atargatis transformed herself into a mermaid out of shame for accidentally killing her human lover. Mermaids are sometimes associated with perilous events such as floods, storms, shipwrecks, drownings, and in other folk traditions, or sometimes within the same tradition, they can be both benevolent or beneficent, bestowing boons or falling in love with humans. And the male equivalent, because what about all the other genders? Can you have like a non-binary mer thing? Merz? I don't know. It gets silly, see? Yeah, although traditions about the sightings of mermen are less common than those of mermaids, they are generally assumed to coexist with their female counterparts. They're stay-at-home mermen. That's what it is. The tables are flipped down there. Mermen are confined to the watery kitchen where they belong, and they take care of stuff in the house, Scott.
Aquaman is just sitting at home eating his soy kelp. And
Did you say soy? Did you say soy?
Gay!
You can't say soy on here, Scott. But yeah, the mermaid. There you go. There's the sirens. The conception of mermaids in the West may have been influenced by the sirens of Greek mythology, which were originally half bird-like, but came to be pictured as half fish-like in the Christian era. Uh-oh. You see, identity politics was a thing back then as well, eh? One day it was a bird, the next day it thought, nah, I don't want to be a bird. I'm just going to lie in the water and pretend I'm a fish. Deal with it.
Hey, and you were talking about, that fish. What if you saw that in the clouds flying around earlier, remember? So
I did. My mum was on it. My mum was on it. She was thinking back to her times in ancient Greece, wasn't she? She's listening right now. She'll be spitting mad. She'll be spitting feathers. That's what she'll be doing. But yeah, so I found this article today as well, Scott. I think this might be worth going into. I like that picture there. Pretty cool. It's totally CGI. That's not even a place in Scotland, so it's no way Loch Ness or anything. But
don't worry about that, Kev. Begley will have it up on his channel.
Uh-oh, she's messaging. Uh-oh. You know it's bad when your mother messages you halfway through your stream, right? Damn.
Uh-oh.
This is one of those bits where this might end up on like like one of those shows that shows when streams go bad. You know what I mean? No, it's all right. She's falling asleep. Oh, it's because you were back in ancient Greece. That's what it was. No, you have a lovely night's sleep, mother dearest. And we will play our game of Scrabble tomorrow. She loves her Scrabble online, Scott, but there's something wrong with the game right now. It's like it needs an update, but she's convinced it's just her game that's going wrong. And I find it hilarious, dude.
How does Scrabble get to a point where it needs an update?
Because Scott, when you're playing Scrabble through Facebook, because it's Scrabble, automatically you have to allow access to your camera and your microphone. I mean, so who knows what updates are doing in the background, Scotty? Who knows what data they're after this week?
I fully understand now. It's a back end update.
Yeah, the game itself never changes. Scrabble's Scrabble, right? What can you do to it? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so good night, mother dearest. I love you to bits, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. But I have a show to do here, and we'll get back into it. A 43-year-old man saying good night to his mother on the stream. What the hell's the world coming to? You see that? Now Anne's pulling the piss as well. What can you say? I tell you, that one in the room will still be coming and saying goodnight to you when he's 43, Anne, I'm telling you. So it says here, what is a cryptid, Scott? The Gizmodo Guide to Undocumented and Unusual Beasts. Looking good. And folks, don't forget, and especially Brian, if you're out there in the chat room, we have also got something about St. Augustine in Florida.
St. Augustine, Florida.
Yeah,
yes.
We've still got that to come, so don't you worry, Brian. I haven't forgot you, brother. So it says Scotland has the Loch Ness Monster, Australia has the Bunyip, and America, the Jersey Devil. We've never done a show on the Bunyip.
Yeah, we're going to have to look up what the Bunyip is. That sounds very interesting.
Let's have just a quick look. I'm quite worried. It's one of those words you just never know what you're going to get when you Google this. A bunyip. Well, we can scale that down for a start. Images. Oh.
Whoa, that thing looks... Whoa.
That's what you call a cryptid. What the hell is that?
That, my friends, that is... that checks all the boxes of a cryptid.
Australians don't mess. See, when it comes to spiders, they do spiders proper. When it comes to cryptids, what the fuck is that? I'm sorry, but what the hell, dude?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get into what the bunyip is at.
Give me the human-looking fish every day, because if this thing comes out the water, you're going to know about it. Begley ain't going to be too serious for too long if this bad boy comes slithering out of any kind of lake looking for you. And think about it, dude. You're like in the middle of the outback. It's probably not all that easy to find water out there. You find a little creek, you go down to it, and then this thing's lying guard in it. Oh, would you believe it, man? That'd be just my kind of day. Just my kind of day. So we come back.
Fair play to Australia. Once again, you had to outdo everyone with the deadly monsters, deadly animals.
Not only that, Scott, they don't even bother talking about it. It's like, yeah, bunyip, who cares? Just a bunyip.
Yeah, they're like, it's all right, mate. The bunyip's just out there in the bush. And...
G'day, mate. Throw another bunyip on the barbie, Kev.
Yeah, throw another bunyip on the barbie.
See, we love our Australians here. See, yes. Totally culturally inappropriate in these times, but it's okay because, we roll like that. So all over the world, you hear tales of mythical beasts, animals, and monsters that might just exist, even if they're not scientifically recognized. From lake monsters to living dinosaurs to creatures straight out of myth, we're talking about cryptids, or as I like to say, the cryptic world of cryptids. So what counts as a cryptid? That's a good question, right? I mean, what is it that classifies you as a cryptid? So it says, contrary to popular belief, cryptids don't have to be supernatural, mythical, or even all that strange. Though many popular creatures acquire these characteristics as their legends grow. But in truth, the field of cryptozoology covers everything from scientifically plausible but poorly documented animals to demon-like monsters seen only in dark forests and shaky video footage. The term cryptid can be applied to any of the following categories of unknown beasts. So creatures which come from myth and legend, supposedly supernatural or paranormal entities, yep. Extinct creatures said to still inhabit specific areas, that'd be like the Tasmanian tiger, Scott. Yeah, that springs to mind. Known animals in areas that are not known to inhabit. Yeah, that would be out of place. I suppose you would call that something cryptid, right? Known animals of an unusual size or appearance. Well, if they're known and you know it's a big bear or you know it's a big tiger, then it's not really a cryptid. It's just a big something, right?
Well, they're talking about like
the giant squid.
Yeah, like a giant squid, or like a bear that is of freakish size that may have been spotted.
Well, a 25-foot bear isn't just a big bear.
Yeah, that's just not your average big bear.
Stop being a big bear a while ago, Kev. Deal with it.
So I'm thinking exceptional circumstances of just, look, giants.
Yeah.
They're human, supposedly, right? But
allegedly.
Talking allegedly, possibly, maybe not. Fallen angels, Nephilim, but
where's Joe when we need them?
Exactly. But those are unusual. You don't come across a giant every day.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So it says here as well, the last two is animals that don't resemble any known species. Human fish face, that would fall into that one. And known hoaxes, whether taxidermy, Photoshop, false accounts, or otherwise. Now, I wouldn't call them cryptids. I would call them hoaxes. They're hoaxes.
Yeah, those aren't cryptids. Those are hoaxes.
You said it in your own description. They're known hoaxes. So it says here, one well-known cryptozoologist named George M. Eberhardt has separated these further into 10 distinct categories, with only slight variations on the categories listed above. Now, he also adds a few exclusions, though those shouldn't be considered cryptids. These include aliens, angels and demons, and so-called bizarre humans, such as zombies. I wouldn't have called the zombie a cryptid either, but it is a special case, right? And generally, insignificant creatures that aren't big, weird, and dangerous, and controversial in a scientific sense. Now, what the hell? Look at that. Is that like some kind of dried out mer person. It's most likely a fake, I get it, but I tell you what, that looks kind of creepy, right?
Is it, Kev?
Or is it? Or is it?
Yeah. Don't jump the gun on it.
Exactly, because I'll look in the chat in a minute and somebody in the chat room's going to say, yeah, but Kev, look at it this way. And I'll go and look at it that way and I'm going to shit myself again, right? I'm going to set myself up for a good one. Well, I hope we've got an incoming. We've got an incoming. Again, we need Joe. Joe would be the one to answer this, I think, Scott. 228 living souls, at least I think you're living, in the chat right now. Thank you so much. Atheism is madness.
God didn't flood the earth for sin, or we all would need a life preserver. Fallen angels corrupt DNA in man and animals.
There you go, see? Floods, we needed Joe. And we've all got a little bit of the fallen angel and the Nephilim in us in. When you look at it DNA-wise, Scott, right? If we're like, if we've got that, if that hybrid thing was going on, then I dare say some of us are still mega flawed that way. We've still got that kicking about in the code, my man.
I think so. I think a lot of that is located in the quote-unquote junk DNA.
Yeah, junk. Yeah.
Junk, yeah.
Like the dark matter and dark energy. What was that then? Just dark matter and dark energy. Shut up, don't ask.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Must be junk.
Just dark matter.
Must be junk because we don't know it yet. So then if we keep coming down here, I'm liking this article. Gizmodo, it's a hit and a miss sometimes. Sometimes it's very kind of, I don't know, but this is cool. So it says, in general, a creature is a cryptid when there is some evidence for its existence, whether it's photographic evidence, footprints, remains, or even an eyewitness account. When irrefutable evidence of a creature's existence is found, it ceases to be a cryptid and moves into the realms of science. While rare, this has happened a few times, like the platypus. Now, I didn't know that. I didn't know that the platypus at one point was something that people just speculated existed, or the okapi, known as the African unicorn, both strange animals that were once considered to be hoaxes by Western scientists. Even the famous Komodo dragon was once thought to be a myth. And when it comes to tales of actual dragons, most of the world still believe it's just a myth. I think they were very real, Scotty boy.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in the case of the platypus, right? I mean, imagine someone back then seeing it and then trying to describe it. I saw this beaver with a duck bill, and because of how ridiculous a platypus is, just on the face of it, how bizarre a platypus really is.
Yeah, if you're describing that to somebody with no frame of reference, it's totally what you talking about.
Like, oh, dude, what are you talking about? That's crazy. You didn't see a beaver with a duck bill and and all this stuff, and you're like, no, I swear I saw it. So it probably was some kind of like just something that people were talking about, and it was being just speculated upon until they actually came across it and are like, holy crap, this crazy ass animal actually exists.
That's the famous kind of, is it Gilbert Patterson film?
Yeah, the Patterson film.
Yeah. Dang, dude. Some say it's real, some say it's fake. Still, to this day, it's argued. I don't know, man. What's your take, Scott?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I can't go either way on it. I really can't.
I've heard coast to coast doing shows with people that were there, saying that he'd done it, saying it was real, then it came out that he'd said it was fake, and I honestly don't know, dude. Honestly don't know. So it says here, hominids run the gamut from humanoid to giant apes, a category that is strangely overrepresented. So now we're moving into the kind of various forms, Scott. We've got Bigfoot to Yetis. So it says
categories.
It says some of the best known cryptids in the world, like Bigfoot and the Himalayan Yeti, are hominids, but their human-like forms only add to the controversy around their existence. Now, many hominid cryptids are linked with wild men legends, commonly found in folklore, of both indigenous populations and Western societies worldwide. That's what we call them in the UK. We call it the wild men or wild man. So it says Bigfoot is a North American cryptid, also known as Sasquatch, after the name of wild man type creature in the local Halco-Melum language. And then it says stories of wild men are particularly common among indigenous populations of America's Pacific Northwest. And Bigfoot researchers claim that the distribution of these tales follow the same areas as later sightings of the creatures by white men. So yeah, now if we come over here, where are we? Is that it there? Our good friend Brent Thomas, he was out squatching the other day in the Pacific Northwest, Scotty boy. If we come down here, they did find, I mean, look at this here. This is quite interesting.
But I'm going to give it to Julia. She's going to bring you in there.
See, I mean, it's like a little kind of like hide or something, man.
This is a common thing when people are out looking for the Sasquatch. They come across these looks like primitive kind of shelters or nests or something. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all that they came across something like that.
It's really domed out.
Pretty cool. So I'll drop the link for that video in the chat room. We'll get back to the list. There you go, folks. You can go and check that out. Great to see Brent out and about with his friend. And it's awesome doing the filming. And this lady here, she actually seen stuff last year, Scott. So she's going to be going back. And this area is somewhere that it's reported that there's been sightings. There's squatches to be had round there, Scotty Lopez. Indeed,
nice.
my friend, indeed. So it says here then, and it's going on more about them there. Well, here's another one.
Terrified skiers are watching their back.
No way. No, I don't like those videos with those voices. What is that?
Oh, that is supposedly the scalp of a Yeti,
Of a
I
Wookiee?
believe.
So it says here, despite, all right, we'll go back up a bit here then, right? So many supposed encounters do in fact turn out to be black bears, often animals with mange that look different to healthy bears at first glance. But some grainy pictures and odd accounts don't quite line up with any living animal. So if Bigfoot exists, what is it? Well, some researchers tout the theory that it's a relic population of the ancient hominid Gigantopithecus. I think I've done pretty well there. Gigantopithecus. Or else another type of extinct hominid, such as the Paranthropus. There we go. Stories of the Himalayan Yeti are similar to the American Bigfoot. White men, very racist, first came into contact with the beast. Their white privilege there being the first to come into contact with it, Scott. Those pesky white men. I'm going to give myself 10 lashings tonight because they didn't share that first encounter with the Yeti with anyone else. Don't worry, I'll take it for the team, folks. So when strange tracks were encountered in the snow, like Sherpa guides identified them as belonging to the wild man of the snows. Now, most local names for the Yeti refer to it as some kind of wild man or man bear. What, like as in man bear pig? Al Gore? Is he a Yeti? Who knew?
Maybe.
Who knew? Did they kick him out of Yeti land because he was like pushing climate change and stuff? Probably. Unlike the Bigfoot and its numerous videos and images, the Yeti comes with physical evidence. Sort of. The Pangboch Monastery of eastern Nepal boasted ownership of what is said to be a Yeti scalp and hand. Now, hairs from the scalp were taken for testing in 1954, and though no conclusive answer was ever given to the origins, Professor Frederick Wood Jones was convinced that they neither came from a bear or an ape, and were instead from a coarse-haired hoofed animal. Now, 1954, I'm going to hazard a guess here, Scott. DNA technology wasn't that great over in the Himalayas and Nepal back in 1954. And I wonder if we could get it retested now.
The reason I recognized that immediately is
Everard.
because no. Once again, I'm gonna have to bring up Josh Gates and Destination Truth. He went up there. He went up to Nepal. He was going on the Yeti hunt, and first of all, they came across tracks, Josh and them, and they actually came across some hair that they actually took back, and they got some kind of DNA result that didn't match anything that was known. He went to this monastery.
Dude, that's huge. That's huge what you're just saying there. Like, as in really huge, because if it's like, if they've got the DNA and it's like unknown, I'd say, I'd say most types of bears or any type of like animal that it could be in the area, you would think that they've got most of them logged by now. So again, that's pretty kind of cool, Scott.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the biggest episodes of Destination Truth where they were like, whoa, we might have actually like really
stumbled onto what
we were looking for here. But anyways, he went to this monastery in Nepal, looked at the thing. He was gonna try and get a hair sample from it, but because the monastery, they consider that thing like a sacred relic. Like, they barely even let him in there. He had to really he had some local lady basically pull a lot of strings like throughout the night and try to convince the elders to let him in. And even when he was in there, they were all like eyeballing him, like, you're not even really supposed to be in here. And, but, and obviously they weren't even going to let him touch it or take anything out of that thing. But supposedly that's what they said, that they said that thing comes from the Yeti and they use it in these rituals at the monastery. They actually put the scalp on their head or something like that. I don't know. I was like, whoa.
Damn, dude, that's huge, man.
I'll have to find that episode for you, after the show or something, when we're on our off time, and send it to you, because it'd blow you away, dude.
That's definitely big time.
But they are dead set convinced, and they said that thing is from the Yeti. And I don't think these people that live up in the mountains of Nepal are going to just mistake something, an animal.
Dude, I shared an army base with Gurkhas, like proper warrior Nepalese people.
Yeah.
They don't mess, man. No, I'm with you there, dude.
They know what a bear is. They know what a wolf is. They know what the various animals that live up there are. And if they're telling you that's not from a bear, that's from a Yeti, I'm going to go, yeah, I'm going to take your word for it.
Yep, big time. So let's see what it says here. It says, despite the inconclusive results, interest in the Yeti was widespread in the 50s and 60s, and the United States government even created official rules for the numerous American expeditions that went searching for it. The Pangboche hand was later stolen by an American actor, James Stewart, who smuggled it out of the country in his luggage. Hairy hand. Numerous tests have been done on the hand in the years since, with the most recent identifying it as containing human DNA. Now that's even more disturbing, Scott. That there could be some human element to things that are kicking about, and we're calling them like the Sasquatch, the Yeti. These could literally be us from another dimension.
Could it be some of these giants that are still kicking about? Then these Nephilim, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about...
Were we at one time Sasquatch?
Maybe. Hey, if you look at the hair on that, you notice that it's red hair.
Yep.
So
that's key, because obviously, be it the Kandahar giant, be the ones in the UK, there's this ginger-haired aspect to them. Double rows of teeth, 6 fingers, 6 toes, the usual kind of stuff. Very interesting. So it says the most compelling evidence for the existence of a real Yeti came in the form of a study that studied various hair samples attributed to Yetis. While most of the samples matched known mammalian species, two particular samples were unknown. Their closest genetic similarity being matched with a type of Paleolithic polar bear. Wow.
I think the two samples that were unknown might have been the samples that Josh Gates took, if I remember correctly. So
yeah. So it says here, but, while conclusive evidence has never been found for the existence of either the Yeti or the Sasquatch, another similar cryptid studied in the late 19th century did indeed turn out to be real: the mountain gorilla. Now, although these animals are now widely known to exist, they were once considered a myth. That's brilliant. That's a really good way to look at this, folks. That wasn't that long ago when you think about it. And something that, a gorilla, a mythical kind of gorilla, and then, oh, look, we've just discovered this, the gorilla that was mythical. Now it's real. You're only that one piece of evidence away from a cryptid becoming, common knowledge. It was always there, right? So it says, though the animals are now widely known to exist, they were once considered a myth. In fact, they were described as wild men in the same vein as the creatures above. Large, hairy men with huge strength and violent tempers. And a close study of the animal eventually proved that there was nothing legendary about them. Could the same one day be said for the Yeti or the Sasquatch? Absolutely. So now we're moving on to our next classification, Scott. The demons and the monsters. Now, if I send you this link, my man, I'm gonna need to nip to the toilet for 2 minutes. Is that all right?
That's fine.
You sure?
I can.
Yeah, and I'll just leave that there. It's it's all good. There's no rush, big man. No rush at all. We're chilled. These people, these great people in the chat. This is the one thing I keep having to remind myself. There's no pressure from them. They're absolutely chilled. In fact, the longer we take, the happier these people become, Scott, because it means we're on for longer.
Yes, exactly. Oops, I didn't mean to click that.
So I'm going to go to the toilet, right?
Yep, and I will get into this with everybody.
All right, everyone. Back, folks.
So next on the category here is the supernatural cryptids, the demons and the monsters. It says sometimes cryptids can only be described as monstrous, and this is where the realm of cryptozoology collides with the study of the paranormal. These are cryptids whose very presence creates odd physical, mental effects on their victims. And this is what I was talking about before, where now we're talking about the supernatural and the paranormal becoming part of this, and just these strange sort of attributes to some of these creatures, these entities possibly. It says the Jersey Devil is well known in American cryptozoology and urban legend, with its story stemming from sightings and livestock killings as early as 1820. Jersey Devil fever really took off in 1909, when 1 week in January produced hundreds of supposed sightings of the devil across the entire state of New Jersey. The coverage led to such widespread panic that schools were closed and workers were advised to stay home. But what could they have seen that would prompt such panic? The Jersey Devil is said to have bat-like wings, a horse's head, long claws, and a draconic appearance, while others describe it as a kangaroo with wings, one of which was at one point set up as a hoax. It was said to have attacked trolley cars and social clubs, with the police firing on the supposed monster with little to no effect. Footprints have been seen in the snow, but with the bulk of this cryptid's activity occurring in the early 20th century, there is very little photographic or physical evidence for its existence. This doesn't stop people from talking about it. The Jersey Devil is an icon for the state, and organized groups and enthusiasts still go searching for it in the Jersey Pine Barrens. Another terrifying creature in contemporary American folklore is the Goat Man. Appearing in a number of different urban legends, the goat man is usually some kind of goat-human hybrid. Maryland's version of the story says that the goat man wields an axe as he walks up and down the back roads of Beltsville, Maryland, attacking cars as they pass by. The story was popularized in 1971 when the death of a dog was blamed on the goat man. And from there, it only grew into infamy. So the goat man carries an axe.
Wait a minute, dude. The goat man? What the hell did I just walk back in on, Scott? Goat man?
Well, it was going into some of the supernatural cryptids, right? Some of the paranormal ones, and it was discussing the Jersey Devil. And we know about the Jersey Devil, but it got into the goat man at the end, and
what the hell is that?
The goat man from Maryland, at least Beltsville, Maryland. Yeah, this thing is crazy. Yeah, and it says Maryland's version of the story says that the goat man wields an axe as he walks up and down the back roads of Beltsville, Maryland, attacking cars as they pass by.
Yeah, top tip, folks. You don't go running about calling this thing the goat man. You don't call that goat man.
No.
You call that thing sir, and you run like hell. That's what you do, man. That looks like... imagine that thing going toe-to-toe with a kangaroo. That'd be a good fight. The kangaroo would take that thing, I think, Scott. I'm telling you.
And we're talking about another hooved foot creature.
A hooved foot creature? What the hell is it with these things, man? Dude, that there, look at the muscles on that thing, man.
The goat man almost looks like... what is that? The Greek Pan?
Pan, yes. It
looks like Pan. You know, it's got a goat head, all that stuff.
Yep. The goat head. Oh. Very happy to see you, sir. Yes. A most phallic of welcomings that was, Scott. Dearie me. I'm sorry, folks. I didn't mean to. I almost poked my eye out there. Come on, Pan.
Well, Pan was very, very happy to see everyone. But, I mean, it is a striking resemblance.
Telling you, dude.
Yeah,
you crack on, man. You've got the goat man. You've got the sus, dude.
Okay, I will continue here. It says, this type of cryptid isn't exclusive to Maryland. However, another goat man-like creature is said to haunt the Pope Lick Trestle in Louisville, Kentucky. The legend of this creature says that it lures people onto the trestle to meet their death from oncoming trains, or even that the sight of the creature is so unsettling that it causes people to leap off the trestle in fear. Wow, that's crazy. It says, unfortunately, at least part of the legend is true. The goat man of Pope Lick does in fact lure people onto the dangerous railway trestle. Most of the time, however, these are people who have come looking for the monster after hearing the numerous myths about it. Earlier this year, on April 23rd, a 26-year-old woman was hit by a train while looking for the goat man on the trestle. While her boyfriend escaped getting hit by hanging from the side of it, while the trestle itself has claimed many lives before, this is the first to have been connected with the Pope Lick monster. Wow. So maybe just even the allure of looking for the goat man drew someone out to the bridge, and they unfortunately lost their lives out there. So now the legend has grown, and even if you don't necessarily see him, you're almost what you say, like manifesting this to happen. It says The most recent iteration of
Scott,
the
this is
Goatman
where it
legend
gets really weird, by the way. This is where it gets really Kev Baker, Scott Lopez-esque. You'll see. Go for it, man.
says the most recent iteration of the Goatman legend was a creepypasta posted to 4chan's paranormal board, detailing a close encounter with the Goatman. While creepypastas are known more for their entertainment value than their truthfulness, it's still a great read to see this kind of terror that this particular legend can inspire. So we would we'll have to go into that creepypasta.
But where was the Slender Man born? You know, creepypasta competitions. Yeah, so that creepypasta, yeah, absolutely, it's more entertainment than truthfulness, but that doesn't mean anything in the world of thought forms. Because a thought form can be born out of anything, whether it was intended to be fictional, real, or otherwise, and it's just enough people focusing on it, be it the Goat Man, a Dog Man, Slender Man, any of these things. And I know it sounds out there, folks. I know it does. But you start to look into tulpamancy, tulpas, and you can, if you know what you're doing with enough energy, enough attention being focused on the one thing. Nobody intentionally wills this into the world, but some way, Scott, that energy builds and it does manage to manifest in some way, shape, or form.
Whoa, we got a very interesting thing in the chat here. It says, look up the Oklahoma satyr. Met her in 1998. A half woman that tries to drown you in a creek.
The Oklahoma satyr. Here we go. Right, there's the giant octopus. Here we go. The Oklahoma satyr. Not quite, but close. According to some Native American legends, there's a strange beast running around through the forests of Oklahoma. Half woman, half deer. This woman is not one to tangle with. She lures unsuspecting young men into the forest with her beauty. See, this is it, Scott. I would be the victim in one of these stories. All it would take is a nice set of eyes, you know, a nice smile, and Kev's gone. Kev just becomes a statistic.
Your toxic masculinity is going to get you in trouble.
The universe has ways to take care of such toxicity, sir. But once they discover that she has hooves, Scott, hooves, she morphs into a doe, shape-shifting. Again, we've got the shape-shifting element, and tramples them. Personally, I think somebody had a little too much of that firewater. Well, I don't think so. I actually don't think so. Yeah, that's a weird one. So you said somebody in our chat room actually, like, had an encounter with that?
Yeah, whoever posted that in the chat, I apologize for not catching your name, but just post again and let us know who you are, because that is very interesting. If you came across that, that's wild. It's a wild story. And Oklahoma's not too far from Kansas, so I mean, I'm sure that thing.
And I think it's actually a breed of. I think it's a breed of.
It looks like the female version.
Yeah, it's a butterfly as well, which is weird because a butterfly goes through a transformation, right? It literally species shifts. It like shape shifts, right?
To me, it seems like a female version of the Goat Man or Pan.
Yeah.
They all have that same
flavor to them.
Or even like a forest version of the siren or something.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought when it started to talk about luring things. It sounded just like you had sounded when you were talking about the mermaids. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird, dude.
Yeah.
So very strange.
You want to continue on with this next?
Let's go for it. Prehistoric cryptids, since it is my local one. It's my claim to fame. Since I am now the monster guy, I'm that dude that goes on shows to talk about this pesky monster. Yeah, I don't like being the monster guy. Do you get it? But nah, all joking aside, usually when Clyde Lewis goes into the aquatic woo, I'm the first guy he calls. Go figure. So if dinosaurs still lived with us on the planet, we would know, right? Right? Would we? So some cryptozoologists think not. The most obvious example of a dinosaur-esque cryptid is, of course, the Loch Ness Monster. Nessie has long been said to be a plesiosaur, a dinosaur that has somehow survived through extinction in its highly isolated loch. Now then, the documented history of Loch Ness Monster is one of the oldest of any cryptid, with it first being mentioned all the way back in the 7th century AD. Now, in this story, an Irish monk supposedly encountered the local Pict people burying a man by the River Ness. The man was said to have been attacked while swimming in the river by a water beast, which was later repelled by the monk making a sign of the cross in what was perceived as a miracle. Now, I openly talk about the fact that I believe that first initial account of any monster was more a false monster attack. What the hell's a false monster attack? Well, if you can tell the local population that there's some evil monster out there, something demonic beneath the surface, and the only way that they're going to be able to protect themselves is to follow this new book that's going around the world right now, it's a pretty good impetus to start following that book. I'm just saying. So it says here, after this early sighting, other accounts were rarely or rare up until the 20th century, right after Aleister Crowley had opened portals there. Sightings began to be reported after a road was built in 1933, with many of the early ones describing motorists who encountered a strange beast on the land crossing the road from the loch. There's that account again. Remember the horse coming down with the Indian dude across the road into the loch? That suggests Kelpie, Scott, right? Because it's going like from the water to land, the land to water. Numerous times by the sounds of it.
Now I will bring this up though. I will throw this in here. We've talked about the Picts before, right? And you know, these supposed burial mounds, which I don't believe are burial mounds, that they created. And if the Picts were burying somebody and they said that they were attacked by a creature or attacked by something, and then we had this recent discovery of one of these giant stones that the Picts had created, right? And they have like carvings and representations of beasts and monsters on that stone, right? So maybe there is something to this. Maybe, you know, maybe that initial account, there was something to it. If the Picts were burying this guy and they're like, look, he was attacked. He was killed by something, you know, and, you know, this monk just happened to come across this and was like, whoa, you know. So I don't know, maybe the Picts were actually, you know, representing creatures, you know, carving them into the stone that they had seen, you know, that may have been around at that time. So I thought I would throw that in there.
No, you're right. And there's that Pictish site that we were at. And there's the circle at the back there. And on the right of where I'm standing, the left, right up the very back, you can see like one kind of standing stone there. And if you can imagine, like if you counted all the stones that go around that bigger stone circle, there's 12 of them. So to me, it looks like some kind of calendar. But what Scott's talking about there, and he's right, I'll just pull this up here. Pictish. Drawings. Creatures. Because it was in the news not long ago. There we go. We come back here. I'll take this down. And it says here, if we look at this, we'll blow it up. And you start to see legged things. But it says here, the discovery of an extremely rare carved Pictish stone at an early Christian site in northern Scotland has excited archaeologists, and this just comes from August, the end of August this year. The stone was unearthed by chance when Anne McInnes of the North of Scotland Archaeological Society was surveying an early Christian site near Dingwall, which is where my mum lives, northwest of Inverness. So I'm assuming that this is the same site. So it says several mythical beasts were carved onto the surface of the stone, including a centaur with an axe.
Oh, wait. Did we just talk about
the goat
man with an axe?
A hippopotamus. Now, how people in Scotland knew anything about a hippopotamus is beyond me.
A hippocampus.
Hippocampus, then. Okay. Right. Okay, dude. Right. I still don't know how they would know one of them, right? And an animal-headed warrior wielding a sword and a shield. But if they'd known a hippopotamus, then that would have been really strange. I get that.
Now, how do we know that it's an animal-headed warrior wielding a sword and shield as opposed to some kind of a mythical beast?
Get this, dude. Get this as well, though, right? Get this as well. Other carvings include a cauldron and 2 oxen. A cauldron? What were they doing? What kind of magic were they rustling up back in these times? Very, very weird indeed. And a good shout, Scott. Well remembered. Very well remembered.
It's jogged my memory. I'm like, okay, we got to bring that into the situation.
We've spoke about the Loch Ness Monster before. Yeah. So we'll come to the next one. Look at this. Here we go.
The bunyip.
Mythical creatures, the creatures of legend. Yes, indeed. Could tales of the legendary creatures have been inspired by real-life encounters? Some cryptozoologists believe so. Here in Australia, we have the bunyip, a water or cave-dwelling monster often appearing in the dreaming stories of the Aboriginal people across Australia. Now it just got even more interesting.
Yeah, this just got real. The shit just got real, people.
Big time. The early European settlers even believed that the bunyip was a native Australian animal that had yet to be properly discovered, and encounters were well documented through the 19th century. Now, the bunyip never seems to have a single agreed-upon description, aside from the fact that it lives near rivers. Now, common features in early Victorian encounters or accounts tended to include descriptors such as, quote, a dog-like face, a crocodile-like head, dark fur, a horse-like tail, flippers, and a walrus-like tusks or horns, or a duck-like bill. Wow. It's pretty varied. So while many of these characteristics fit with various Australian animals, no species ever had all of those features together. Look at that. There's a representation of it. Damn, dude.
Well, this thing could just be some kind of a shape-shifting beast, you know? Like, you're not going to get a single description of it. This thing is, like, morphing and changing and you know, it's trying to take on whatever.
It's an SJW cryptid. It can identify as whatever it wants from day to day, right? Come on, man. It can choose whatever pronouns it wants, you know?
He's like, I identify as over 400 species.
There you go. There you go, man. You never know. 500 now, maybe. Early accounts of the bunyip mainly involved the discovery of strange remains, such as a set of large bones discovered at Lake Bathurst that looked to be similar to... It's a hippopotamus this time, though. See, I knew the hippopotamus was going to come into this at some point.
There you go.
What is it? What is it? The 17th. What is it? The 17th letter of the alphabet says, "Future proves past." Scott, future proves past.
Confirmation, Kev. It's confirmation.
Open kill brackets. Confirmed. Close kill brackets. Pamphlet Anon loves you.
Yeah, you need to turn that white hat music on.
Oh, hang on. Oh, don't. You caught me out. No! Usually it's me that catches you out. Yeah, I love the white hat. I want the white hats on for the tail end of it. They're coming. Mass arrest tomorrow. Gitmo filling up. Black helicopters. Anyway. Oh, what's happened, Scott? What's happened here? What has happened? You know what it is? It's the bunyip, man. I'm shitting myself in case something like this gets a hold of me.
I know, the bunyip's trippy, dude. The bunyip's
Somebody asks you what the bunyip identifies as. Anything it bloody wants to. Look at the state of it.
The fact that this thing comes from Aboriginal lore just makes it that much more, you know.
We're making the dude in the chat room want to drink and smoke. That's how I want to make people feel when they watch this stream. Yeah.
Yes.
There's many reasons that lead you to drinking and smoking. I hope it's a good one. If not, just don't tell me. So it says here, in the Wellington Caves, not to be mistaken with Wellington boots, explorers found fossilized bones that look... I know it was a shit joke, I know. Explorers found fossilized bones that looked to belong to a huge quadruped. These bones were later identified as belonging to giant marsupials, the Notherium, and the Diprotodon. Do you know why I'm laughing, folks? I need to turn that music off. Because I'm thinking, unless the white hats have trained these cryptids, this just doesn't fit. It's not happening. The cryptids are going to make mass arrests on Monday morning. They're going to drag people away in a big net and take them to Gitmo. Oh, the goat man's got it covered, Scott.
I was expecting Big Rudolph to just kind of come in behind you on the camera and just be like,
yes, my name is Rudolph, the tall white alien. There you go. See, I've got a good Rudolph, man. I've been practicing my Rudolph, man. Who's messaging? Oh, it's nothing important at all. Irrelevance. There we go. A later find of similar fossils included an account gained from an Aboriginal man. See how the minute it goes to Aboriginal man, I cut the comedy. You see, this is where we get into like really decent like knowledge, Scott. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what makes this so interesting to me. You know, the fact that this is coming from Aboriginal lore. I'm like, okay, because everything I've looked into with the Aboriginals and their legends and tales and, you know, stories, and it's crazy because their Aboriginals really have no written record or anything. It's all
oral tradition.
It's all oral tradition passed down through word. But, you know, a lot of the stuff they talk about, when you start putting it into context with a lot of the quantum and a lot of the stuff starting to, you know, come to light now, you're like, oh, looks like the Aboriginals have a lot of knowledge that we just don't have. So
it's another white hats one, dude. It's okay. Hashtag mass arrest next week. See, you've put me in a silly mood now. So you have. See, this is what can happen, Scott.
You put yourself in you had to invoke the 17th letter. And
why did I do it to myself? I don't know.
You did it to yourself.
I did it to myself, right? Turn off that music. Keeps on making me think about it. So the local Aboriginal, right, an Aboriginal man that was local to the area, does that not like self-explanatory since he was like ab-original to the area anyway? I'm just saying. I know semantics, Scott. I know. Who claimed that an Aboriginal woman had been killed by a bunyip and that he had several wounds on his chest from one such attack. Now, in 1847, a large crowd was said to have gathered upon seeing a living bunyip sunning itself on the banks of the Yarra in Melbourne. Now, the bunyip has not been studied or hunted as much as contemporary or in contemporary times as its American counterparts have. And considering how remote parts of Australia are, it could be possible, if highly unlikely, that some unique animal still awaits undiscovered. Well, it could do. If there's remote parts, then it could do.
Yeah, we're talking about the outback. There's areas out there where humans are just
Probably as unexplored as the ocean, Scott.
just as unexplored as certain areas of Alaska and all, all of these areas where it's just the environment is so harsh that it's almost impossible for people to live out there. So
absolutely. So then, red cap goblin, you don't believe in it. That's the point. Don't believe in it. So then we go back to here. The Americans, is that what I am?
Yeah, I believe so.
Most accounts of bunyips have been chalked up to either seals coming up river, or to the remains, or possibly relict populations of now extinct marsupials. The Americans also have their share of legendary cryptids. Two of the most well-known are also two of the most feared. The first of these is, good one, Chupacabra. What's your thoughts, Scotty? The Chupacabra.
My personal take on the Chupacabra is that I believe the Chupacabra is a hybrid crossbreeding between a coyote and a Mexican gray wolf that was once thought to be extinct, and possibly like wild dogs or feral dogs that are running around. I think that's what it is. That's my personal take on it. But I don't know. There are aspects to Chupacabra attacks that are pretty weird, though, that kind of go beyond just an animal like that. But I think a lot of these sightings of the Chupacabra, I really do. I just think they're coyotes that have interbred with this once thought to be extinct Mexican gray wolf.
I must admit the Chupacabra, probably after the Bigfoot, I think it was one of the first cryptids I really came across. And again, shout out to Coast to Coast. It's really, there's some stuff on there, just you hear it for the first time and then that sets you off. You go researching for yourself and that's amazing. Here we are today. But it says here, the Chupacabra, the feared bloodsucker of Central America. Accounts of the Chupacabra are widely reported, ranging north into the United States and as far south as Chile. Now, the first sightings originated in Puerto Rico, however, and in March of 1995, 8 sheep were discovered dead from mysterious injuries, Scott. 3 puncture wounds to the chest, through which the animals were completely drained of blood. Now, this to me, Scott, sounds very much like the cattle mutilation where the blood comes into it.
Yeah, it gets weird when you start talking about like various livestock mutilations like this, and a common theme seems to be just like all of the blood being removed from the animal, right? Just completely sucked dry.
Wait till David Seaman finds out.
Oh my God.
He's going to be calling out Chupacabras everywhere, dude.
Yeah. Yep. I don't even know what to say.
At least he might give Mr. P Death Star a bit of a break if he's calling out the Chupacabras, right? Yeah, I know. I've lost it, big man. I've lost it. It's hard to get it back at this point. Only a few. Just go with it. Don't tell me to go with it, dude. It could be horrible. Only a few months later, the accounts escalated. An eyewitness claimed to have seen the beast in a town where as many as 150 domesticated animals fell victim to the creature. Scott, 150? Now, I can't say I've looked into cattle mutilations like in detail, but I don't ever remember like a herd of 150 anything getting whacked.
No, you're talking about something, some sort of predatory
or
creature
some things.
going around.
That sounds more like a pack, yeah.
possibly, going around and just wiping out everything, just in this killing frenzy. I don't know. Now, I mean, I know like packs of coyotes can do that to, to animals, ranchers, pets, and small communities. It's very dangerous to have, wild coyotes running around and stuff like that. But there's obviously a little something more to this, especially the whole blood being drained. I don't think you can chalk it up to something like a coyote.
That's what makes it fall into the cryptid.
That's why it's a cryptid.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Classification.
Yeah. So it says, while it was initially suspected to have been carried out by a satanic cult, the blame was eventually put on a vampire type of creature dubbed the chupacabra, translated as the goatsucker. Well, let me ask you then, is the chupacabra merely a fictional straw chupacabra to take attention away from something that was, just like we heard there, a very, very nasty, dark group of people?
Who knows? Who knows?
Hey, I'm open to the first account of the Loch Ness Monster being used for propaganda purposes. Perhaps here we're looking at another cryptid born out of necessity. Take the attention away from something far darker and far more real. The monsters all around us, Scott. Boo, booga, booga, booga.
So are we saying hashtag Chupacabra Lives Matter?
We have to. Chuba 2? Hashtag Chuba 2?
Yeah, I don't know, but the thing is that this phenomenon has been observed elsewhere outside of Puerto Rico. And, you've got people seeing this strange creature. And
Scott's, because we were talking about that letter, I'm seeing these cults everywhere now, dude. Everything can be explained away by these cults.
It's okay, Kev. Okay.
You sure?
Gitmo's going to be opening up soon.
Anyway, if this Mandela effects keep going the way I hope they do, soon I'm going to wake up and there's only 25 letters in my alphabet. We know what one I vote to get rid of. So aside from the blood-sucking aspect of the royal family, I mean the chupacabra, it's generally described as a reptilian with leathery. I've never heard of the chupacabra being described as a reptilian, Scott.
No, I never heard of the chupacabra being described as a reptilian.
No. Marty's talking about crazy bitches in the chat room. You ever find that maybe there's something better going on in the chat room than like reptilian tubas? What have we missed?
Okay. It's okay. Let them go, Kev.
What have we missed? We've missed some good gossip, man.
The chat is I would dare to say that the chat has morphed into a cryptid all of its own.
Isn't it? It's taken on, it's like a thought form. It's like a thought form. So it says other descriptions peg it as looking like a wild dog with a pronounced spinal ridge, and skeptical investigator Benjamin Radford went in depth into the legend of the chupacabra and concluded that many sightings were actually dogs or coyotes with mange. And I'm sure that's true, but that doesn't rule out every single sighting.
No, and like I said, I think a lot of the sightings are this kind of hybrid of a coyote and this gray wolf. It just looks really ugly. That's all I can say is that it's a very ugly, unnerving animal to come across. So
brown chicken, brown cow. Seemingly there's some hot chupacabra action over at that hamster website that you hear people talking about. Yo, brown chicken, brown chuba. Wouldn't surprise me. There's people making love to traffic cones and piles of leaves. If the tuba's out there, somebody's got love for it. You know it. Well, tuba too.
You've heard the term Rule 34, right? Rule 34 of the internet. That's all I gotta say.
The odd events, Scott. Yes, the odd events in Latin America where livestock animals are killed and their blood is drained through perfectly circular holes has little agreed upon explanation. However, the legend of the chupacabra is still going strong through the Americas. Now, further north, this is where it gets really weird. Native American legend gives us another fearsome cryptid, the Wendigo. Now, the Wendigo is a terrifying one, okay? This creature comes from Scott. Come on, dude. Help me here. Algonquian folklore. Thank you, brother. And is a cannibalistic monster native to the Atlantic coast and Great Lakes region of North America. Now, Scott, I'm surprised more people don't talk about this one. Because this is a weird one, the Wendigo. And it says, while sometimes described as a spirit, sometimes as a twisted human being, and only sometimes as a cryptid, the story of the Wendigo is still an interesting one. But your thoughts on the Wendigo? Because, again, I think this, I'm surprised it doesn't get talked about more.
You know, that's the thing. Even I don't know too much about the Wendigo.
Here we go. The only reason I know about this, and it's quite synchronistic, I was watching a TV show, Netflix. It's a Belgian thing. Can't remember the name of it. Cop show, right? But long story short, there was a Wendy's Diner was the place where this cop's daughter worked, and it ended up the story. It kind of paralleled the lore of a Wendigo. So it says the Wendigo is a humanoid and has an intense craving for human flesh. It's usually described as tall and emaciated, with skin stretched tight over its bones. Now, sightings are occasionally reported, and even for white populations in the areas where the Wendigo myth is strong, local legend says not to say its name out loud, lest you risk calling down the Wendigo upon you. The legend of the Wendigo continued. Aye, exactly, Scott. Hang on a minute here. We need to... Yeah.
And before you continue, doesn't the Wendigo, just that description itself, doesn't that sort of echo like the pale crawlers,
the rake,
the rake, maybe even like Slender Man, all of that stuff where you have kind of like this tall, lanky thing, entity sort of thing going on here. That's pretty interesting.
Well, you're right. It says the legend of the Wendigo continued strongly among the indigenous populations even into the 20th century. One famous case involves a Cree Wendigo hunter named Jack Fiddler. What a cool name. Who was arrested and put on trial for killing people when he claimed were either Wendigos or about to become them. Now, some of these were euthanized on request of the supposed Wendigos' families or the people themselves, while others, he claimed, were sent against his peoples by enemies. So the Wendigo, by the sounds of it, Scott, is something that we ourselves can transform into, almost werewolfish.
Yeah, or you become possessed by the Wendigo and you turn into one, kind of like maybe like a vampire, sort of turns you, and very interesting. So this dude was going around killing people and
saying it was all right, he was just about to turn into a Wendigo. I've got it covered.
Yeah, he was just playing the Wendigo card.
It's a good cover for a serial killer, right? It was Wendigos, man.
They were just a Wendigo. I was just, yeah.
I done you all a favour. One day you'll appreciate the 78 bodies I left in my wake. You'll see.
Well, what's really interesting, though, is that he was doing it on the request of, like, families who believed somebody was becoming
Is that
a
like
Wendigo.
code for being like a hitman for the mob? Yeah, I got a call from a family wanting to deal with a Wendigo. Oh, okay. Just give me your number and the name of the Wendigo, and I'll get rid of them for you. Yeah, right. Oh, you're gonna sleep with the fishies tonight, punk. So the Wendigo is one of the few cryptids for which... Who knew that the Wendigo was in the Goodfellas? So the Wendigo is one of the few cryptids for which verifiable evidence exists. Nah, wait a minute. Where's my soundboard for that? Bloomin' heck. The Wendigo is one of the few cryptids for which verifiable evidence exists. You see, folks, they don't expect you to read all the way through an article, and when you get to the bottom, look at this little clanger. It should have opened with this, Scott. That should have been the opening gambit. So, in a manner of speaking, right, okay, so the killer, come on. This is Wendigo psychosis, a documented phenomenon where human beings turn cannibal and eat human flesh even when other options are available to them. This is Wendigo psychosis, a documented phenomenon where human beings turn cannibal and eat human flesh even when other options are available, though the situation might still be dire. Sometimes, no shit, truth is stranger than fiction, though relatively little evidence exists for the Wendigos appearing as per their physical descriptions. Now, while we know that mankind hasn't discovered all the creatures that share the planet with us, we're still not sure whether creatures as fanciful, impressive, or downright odd as the ones listed here can actually exist. A number of cryptids have been proven to exist over the years, while others have been proven imaginary. Who knows what new discoveries the future will bring? And I tell you what, that was Gizmodo Australia. It was from Australia, Scott. So, yeah, no wonder it was a good article. And I tell you what, one of the better cryptid articles that I've actually gone through, to be honest with you. That was quite interesting.
Yeah, that Australian cryptid is crazy.
The
and like I
bunyip.
said, the bunyip, I definitely think there's something to it just because of the whole Aboriginal connection to it.
Now, what we're going to do is, I do have something about St. Augustine, but we're going to go through that tomorrow, because usually at the weekends we do 90 minutes, but when myself and Scott, when Joe isn't here, we're like rebellious. It's Joe, he's the 90-minute taskmaster, isn't he, Scott? He's the one, he's like, when it gets to 90 minutes, he's sending secret messages to say, that's it, boys, that's it, I'm taking the ball home, we're not playing anymore, right? Don't tell him I told you. But when he's away, me and Scott come out to play. But now we're over the 2-hour mark, and I've done 2 hours earlier as well, and I'll be back on the safe space. Maybe tomorrow. In fact, I will do tomorrow, because Anne's off on Tuesday. So I'll do a safe space tomorrow, and then I'll take Tuesday off. Oh, look at her smiling. She's all happy now. Look, she gets some Kev time. No wonder you're laughing, Scott. If you think she looks happy at getting Kev time, you don't know Anne well enough. Exactly. She would have me streaming 24/7 if she could. She's terrible, man. Joe Joseph, he tries to kill the streams. Anne, the minute I get up in the morning, she takes one look at me. She gives me that look. You're not going to be streaming. You not wanting to start streaming. I know what she's doing, Scott. She's trying to get rid of me. She's trying to get rid of me. She's trying to pimp me out. It's like QVC. She actually thinks this is like a shopping channel and people might bid for me.
One of these days. One of these days.
She says one of these days. She should be so lucky.
One of these days we're going to tune into stream and just Anne's going to be standing behind you just cracking a whip.
Dude, you should see the lash marks I've got on my back. It's scary, my man. Scary. Oh, honestly. MK Annie's got nothing on MK Ultra. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. When that mob get taken to Gitmo, she's the interrogator.
Ooh.
And the shoe. And a whole stack of shiny traffic cones. I've got no idea what she intends with the traffic cones, Scott. Who bloody knows? But tomorrow, folks, As you can see, it's descended into silliness here now. Big time. So, on that note, that means it's time for us to take our leave. But I want to thank you all. And again, I think I might have to go back and check out the chat room. There was a whole heap of stuff going on in the chat. There was a good vibe in there tonight. There's shoes flying about in there now, yes. Why is it Anne gets so much support from the chat room? I'm here giving you all this cool content with Scott. And Anne, she sits there off camera and she gets all this love. Kev's thongs are for sale. Kev's thongs are for sale. No, Edward, you see, brother, I go commando. As bare as the day I came into the world, yes. You can't put those things inside anything restrictive, Scott. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let Jim and the twins swing about. It's au naturel or not at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
I absolutely shit myself there. Holy fuck, dude. Don't. That's that Anne. She just planks herself beside him. Wow. A Wendigo or something just jumps into the room. Oh, wow. Seriously shat myself there, folks. No wonder you're laughing. You ever seen like a rake flying from one end of the couch to the other? Like, argh. That's what she'd done there. It was like one bodily. I know I actually jumped. You scared the shit clean out of me. Scotty boy with lungs like mine, I can't take shocks like that. Know what I'm saying? Dang, dude.
I don't know what to say.
Either do I. See? Because he's having bought me on Anne's version of QVC, now she's coming to see if I'm doing this right, you know what I'm saying? She's got me insured. She's got a backup plan. I'll just give him a heart attack.
She's going to be like one of them auctioneers. She's gonna be like,
oh, dude, see, is it Storage Wars? The guy that does the auctioneering and that, man, it does it exactly the same speed you were doing it there, man. It's crazy.
Oh man, we hear them all the time over here. I mean, we live in cattle country. That's just
the way they do it.
Have you ever go to YouTube? It's hilarious. Type in auctioneer rap. I don't think you'll get hit with any kind of copyright or anything on it.
So he says. So he says.
Somebody took auctioneers and put them over a rap beat, and it's so hilarious because it sounds like they're rapping. Yeah, there it is. Right there.
UHN Music. Not going for that one. Mike C. We'll go for Mike C. Yeah.
Yeah, go for Mike C.
So let's get the auction underway. On the first cow here, who's got 55? 55, 55, 7, 7, 7, 8, 9, 9, 59, 60, 60, 60, 60, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4 now, 4 now, 5, 5 now, 4, 4, 4 now, half, 64, 4 now, 5, 5, 5, 65, 5 and a half, 5 now, quarter, half, 5, 75 now, 75, 65 now, 75, 75, sold your way, 65 and a half. 21, Andy Rock, 21, Rockstar, 21. Cattle, and we got some cows here to start. Who's got 72? 72, table, have 30, and a half, 4 now, 4 now, 4 half, 4 now, half, 4 now, quarter, half, 4 75, 4 now, 5 now, quarter, 5 and a quarter, 5 and a half, 75, 5 now, 6 and a quarter, quarter, half, 6 now, 75, 75, 77, 7 quarter, half, 7 half, 75, 78, 8 now, quarter, half, 8, 75, 9, 79, quarter, 9 now, quarter, sold your way, 79, JBS number one, thank you.
KTIT, K-tit, playing the breast, I mean the best. Come on, Scott.
See, as we're gonna have to get that going here. Hold on, where's he at?
I need to give Anne a taste of Nuke.
Yes. Hold on. Let me. Oh, there. Yeah, here it is.
You getting it?
Yep.
This is KTIT, K-tit, playing the breast are the best tunes in town.
I can hear you laughing.
Shut up, you. Oh, folks, too funny. So, I think to play our way out tonight, Scott, we should play that again. I think that's the perfect way to take us out, dude.
I think so.
Big time. You had fun, Scotty?
I always have fun, Kev.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, there's never a moment where I don't have fun.
Never a dull moment. If we stop having fun, Scott, we just don't do it anymore. That's the rule. Absolutely. So, folks, I can't thank you enough for being here. Thank you for the super chats. If you want to become a member, you can do that. Click join. Click the link below. You can also get the stickers. Now, I'm just going to be leaving just now, so don't put stickers or super chats on. But I'll be back tomorrow. Safe space. Between 5 and 7 in the UK. That kind of window of time tomorrow. I'll take my floating day off on the Tuesday and spend some quality time with Anne. You can just about see her thumb there. But yeah, thank you all for being here today. Marty, Sid, the dude, Roosevelt. Yes, indeedy. We've got Christopher Alexander, Brett, Mermaid. There's mermaids in the chat room, Scotty. There you go. Jojo, Kit. Let's get some music on while we just go through a couple of these before we go. Let's see what music's that. Is that a good one? Oh, this damn VLC player's starting to play up again. What's that all about?
I'll help you troubleshoot that next time. Or
weird.
Get offers.
There we go. Yeah, so we'll get a couple more. We've got Stimulate, sorry. Brian in there. Brian, I'll get to the Florida story tomorrow. Chris Bova. Edward. Yes, indeed. Rika, the hopeful volunteerist. I like that. Rika. Those who are really seen are a mystery on YouTube. The fans always love them. Yes, indeed. Kit says this channel rocks. I say you rock. We've got Disco, Duck, whatever. He's drinking. I want it. You see, I don't even need drink. You see, it's just how mad I am normally. Who else we got in here? Marty again. We've got Be Happy as well. Yes, Be Happy. You're the same as me. Free balling. Yes, indeedy.
I concur. I'm going to have to ditto on that.
It's the only way to go, Scott. The only way to go. So we've got, who else in here? Who's lurking? Lisa, she's away over to the paranormal portal. I believe Brett is live right now. Brent, sorry. Who else we got here? We've got the T-Man. Cameron F. Yeah, Roxy. Sid, Be Happy again.
On an interesting note, a fun fact, my brother TJ, that's his nickname. We call him the T-Man.
Huh? So there's a T-Man synchronicity as well.
Yes.
Well, on that note, folks, we will leave you to get back to Woketopia. Remember, once you leave the safe space, I can't promise what will happen to you. But I can promise I'll be back here tomorrow and we'll try and make sense of some of the madness going on in Woketopia. Until then, keep looking for the woo, keep the mind open, but not to the point where the brain turns to black goo. And to take us out tonight, we have, the cattle auctioneer rapper.
So let's get the auction underway. On the first cow here, who's got 55, 55, 55, but I know, say no, 7, 7, 7, 8, but 8, 9, 9, 59, 60, 60, 60, 60, 1, but 1 now, 60, but 1 now, 1, but 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, but 4, 60, but 4 now, 4 now, 5, but 5, but 5 now, 4, 4, 4 now, half, 64, 4 now, 5, 5, 5, 65, 5, but half, but 5 now, quarter, half, but 5, 75, but 5 now, 75, 65 now, 75, but 75, sold your way, 65 and a half, 21. Andy Rock, 21. Rockstar, 21. Cattle, and we got some cows here to start. Who's got 72? 72. Table, have but 30, but 30, and a half, but 3, but a half, but a boom, but a 4 now, 70, but a 4 half. 4 now, half, but a 4 now, quarter, half, but a 4, 75, 4 now, 5, 5, but a 5, but a 5 now, quarter, 5, but a quarter, 5, but a half, but a 5, 75, 5, but a 5, but a 5 now, 6, and a quarter, but a quarter, half, but a 6 now, 75, 75, but a 77, 7, quarter, but a quarter, half, but a 7, half, 75, but a 78, 8, but an 8 now, quarter, quarter, half, 8, 75, 9, 79, a quarter, but be 9, now, quarter, sold your way, 79, JBS number 1, thank you.